He has finally returned to Big Brother Canada. Everyone should be scared, ladies and gentlemen. They don't know who's gonna be ranked the best. They don't know who's gonna be ranked the worst. And this is why this is your number one source for everything BBCAN9. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored, New Year, New Me, New Merch, New Era Hall of Fame. Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. With me, of course, is your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trail, the Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro-Black Prodigy, all of the above on that ISET test and that ACT, here to bring balance back to the Big Brother Canada realm. You know what it is. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another worst to first cast analysis. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen. I did one for BB22, All-Stars. So I said, hey man, I gotta give the culture, the true tea, when it comes to my perspective, ladies and gentlemen, on this cast. Now, first things foremost, they had this twist called a captain's twist. And because of that, and because Ethan, this original cast member, who I originally did a lot of notes for, and then he got sent to the Shadow Realm by production for having a past that he may or not have done, I don't know. That's not important. But what is important, ladies and gentlemen, is that this season is already lit because we've already gotten a player removed. So I believe this is BBCAN and Global TV doing their best to put their best foot forward, and I commend them for showing some sort of leadership, some sort of the ability to not care what people thought and just went for it. I mean, at the end of the day, the last thing they want is to have all these people of color on the season, then have this one guy who spoils everything for everyone else. So I commend, before I get into this video, I commend Big Brother Canada. Now, first things foremost, if you've been here before, if you're used to my worst to first ranking, this part you don't need to know. But for the new people who may have never seen a worst to first ranking, understand, I have 5 exclusive categories that I rank each Big Brother player on. Those 5 exclusive categories are the ability to adapt, knowledge of the game, social game and likability, pre-game strategy, and initial threat level. In my opinion, those 5 things encompass the perfect Big Brother player. If you can figure out a way to not appear that threatening while having a great pre-game strategy, while making sure people like you, you usually last long enough in the game to implement your knowledge of the game, and you'll be able to adapt based off of your likability. They all work well in lockstep with each other. Now, what I like to do before I get into my worst to first, I like giving some context as to how I view this season as a whole compared to other seasons by giving you all the average rating per season. So, if you all have seen my previous worst to first, you know that CBB US Season 2, the season Tamar won, the average rating out of 25 was 15.75. Big Brother Canada 7, my worst to first that season, 17.71. In Big Brother 21, my average score was 17.44, and I didn't even do that season. And then my Big Brother 22 All-Stars rating was 18.44. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be shocked to realize that my Big Brother Canada 9 average rating is 18.64. It eclipses the All-Stars of US. That says a lot about how I view this cast. And quick disclaimer, my entire process was ruined a little bit because they didn't give me enough information. They only gave us 70 to 80 seconds worth of a bio video, right? I understand social distance and all that hot stuff, but I felt like they owed it to fans to at least give us an ET Canada interview. Let us get some other context. Let us get someone speaking to them. That way we see how they interact and react to other people. We didn't get to see that. So the majority of the things that I have to say about these people are solely based off the bio video. That is important for me to mention as well. Now, let's go in and get into who's last place. Let's work our way to the first, okay? Worst to first, coach. And I want to say, whoever is the last 2 people, in other words, the first 2 people I named, those are the people I believe that should be voted for captain, okay? I believe black folks in general now I know the vote process is probably over now for the captain twist, but my point is I hope black folks did not vote for black folks for that captain twist. That captain twist is heaven to hell 2.0. It is designed to ruin games, okay? Now, if your game was dead on arrival, it could help your game, but that's why I don't want no one black getting that, because we got all these people of color around us. We don't need it. That's just how I feel. Now, let's get to last place. 14th place, ladies and gentlemen. It is Miss Tina Thistle, ladies and gentlemen. Poor Tina, poor Tina, poor Tina. I feel bad for her here. It's not really her fault, ladies and gentlemen. It's not because she's a bad prospect, necessarily. It's because the people she is surrounded by, I don't think are conducive to her having a great season, ladies and gentlemen. And let's go ahead and put her in. All right, there we go, Miss Tina. You know what? Is there a way for me to flip this? Hold on, let me flip. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, that way we ain't got to have it all up in our face and stuff. So last place, ladies and gentlemen, is Miss Tina Thistle. Her nickname is Tomahawk Tina. Now, she is 42 years old, and she is a graphic designer, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I think she will be a likable player because she clearly represents a new archetype in the game. I want that to be stated before I get into all of the things I think she may go wrong in this game with. But at the end of the day, I think she's going to be liked because of that, but I fear she won't have a real chance in the game of actually winning. And I think she is the perfect person to give captain to because of the obvious hurdles she will have to overcome socially at the beginning of this game. How many times have we seen an older player, whether that be Big Brother US or Big Brother Canada, that clearly has some sort of potential? The problem is they're not given any time to really grow on these players because these players would rather be in high school. They'd rather be around a whole bunch of people their age. They don't really want to ruffle any feathers, and oftentimes younger people can agree that older people gotta go. And because of that, I think Tina is behind the 8 ball a lot here, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, she is the perfect person to give captain to because she will have to overcome some hurdles socially. But if there's a chance her and Tera could work together as older women in the game, both should take that opportunity. I think they need Kiefer on their side as well just to keep each other from being targeted. I don't really get superfan vibes from Tina, so she may be better equipped to be more entertaining as a captain because she won't fear the reaction that the house will give her. She reminds me a little bit of Sam from Big Brother 20, if I'm being honest. But with that said, I think she is the easy player for production to sacrifice first because everyone else is of color or has to be handled with kid gloves based off their sexuality or will generate more interest in the show if they stick around longer. I think this makes Tina the odd girl out here. Because of this, Tina, in my opinion, has the worst chance to win the game based off bio alone. And with no indication that she understands the game on superfan levels, I have to rank her as the worst player on paper here. Her being last place is a dead giveaway as to why I believe Tina should be voted as a captain. If they are on the bottom anyway, they have nothing to lose by picking players. And depending on how you pick and who you pick, you could help yourself get in an alliance if you are slick with the picks. For example, if someone picks Tychon or Jed, for example, they are smart because those brothers probably will have each other's backs in the game. If you pick both of them together, that could earn both of them having your back in the game. That's a net positive of 2 after being at a net negative before becoming a captain in Tina's case. If this was Survivor, I think Tina scores much better because her life skills can help the tribe. But because it's Big Brother, I think her skill set isn't that valuable among younger players. And with no direct indicator of her being a superfan in her bio, she may have to rely on someone like Tera or Kiefer for guidance in the early stages of the game. I gave her 12 out of 25 stars. She scored 2 in the ability to adapt, 2 out of knowledge of the game, 3 in social game and likability, 2 in pregame strategy, and 3 in initial threat level. And for the people that are wondering, whoa, how's her initial threat level 3? Well, no disrespect, but she clearly is, in her relationship, she's the one who does the heavy lifting, if you will. I believe straight women will view her as a massive threat, physically. Now, I believe men won't view her that way necessarily, but you know how it goes. From a social standpoint, more straight guys will want to be around more straight women, especially around their age group. I think the influence of the younger women will impact the men's view of Tina, and I think she's going to be dead on arrival, unfortunately. But that's my thought process on her. Now, let's move on to 13th place, ladies and gentlemen. We have Julie Vu. who is 28 years old, and she is an influencer. I've been told she's on YouTube. Her nickname is Julie Voodoo, because I think she's going to have to work some voodoo to last long in this game, coach. I think she's screwed too. But I think that's another reason why Julie also needs to be voted as a captain. I think just as much as Tina, Julie needs this. I just got to keep it all the way funky in these streets. Now, clearly in her bio, let's be real here, she was picked to push an agenda. I know a lot of people don't want me saying that much, but it's the truth here. Come on now. All right, let's just be real here. All right, they had the non-binary blindsider on BBCAN9, so now we have a man transitioned into a woman claiming to be an alpha female. Now, I'm not trying to take any shots. I'm just saying, women, how do you feel about that? I think that's messed up. But anyway, I expect production to handle Julie Vu with kid gloves just like they did before with Kira. But damn, why they do Asian men like this? We couldn't get a single Asian man on this season? I mean, dang, we went from Eddie Lynn, the play possum phenom, a character with a legit skill set and interest in the game, to Julie Vu, someone who feels like a recruit through and through. And I wasn't trying to rhyme there. And who no doubt will get special treatment within the game because of the influence she has outside of it. This worries me. It worries me if there's ever any type of Canada's vote or something. I think Julie Vu is going to wash people. I think she's going to wash them. And I think it's because she has an advantage here. Now, granted, Jed might have an inherent advantage as well, being an influencer in his own right, a trainer in his own right. He might also have that type of advantage. I don't know. But I definitely think Julie Vu is going to wash people when it comes to a Canada's vote sometime later in the season if she lasts that long. Now, the bio didn't tell me much about how well I think JV will play, but it does tell me JV will have to work hard to be included in an alliance. If Eddie Lynn had it so hard, I fully expect Julie to as well. Julie is someone who I think could benefit the most from the captain's twist if she isn't a captain. She needs as much time as possible to not be on someone's radar to gain footing. We've seen Mighty Mitch from BBCAN9 come to Big Brother as an influencer and play well, so Julie has a fighting chance here. I'm just worried she didn't make it on the show from being a fan or being expected to play well. I'm worried she's just there for the sake of saying there is more representation. I'm open to being proven wrong here, but nothing in her bio tells me she knows what she's doing. She calls herself an alpha female that won't take anyone's crap. That tells me she might not do well because influencers are used to running the show. What will be her reaction when things don't go her way within the game? Will we get another Audrey that lies under covers and hides? Or will we get a fighter who does everything they can to stay in the game? Other players on this season are more hungry for the money, so I think they will be more focused in the game than Julie as well. I believe Julie is also someone that should be picked to be captain this season. Now, Julie had a tiebreaker with Tina. They both only scored 12 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing is, Julie, she got to a place higher than her based off likability. I think the likability is going to be what helps Julie in the game, and it isn't going to be what helps Tina in the game. And even though both represent LGBT, I don't think LGBT is going to rally behind Tina because she's old. She's in her 40s. I think they may rally behind this woman because she's a lot younger. Now, Julie scored 3 out of 5 stars in the ability to adapt, 2 out of 5 in knowledge of the game, 4 out of 5 in social game likability, 2 out of 5 in pre-game strategy, 1 out of 5 in initial threat level. I don't think anyone will view her as a threat, but I think people will view her as someone no one will be mad that leaves, right? And when you have that, I'm not a threat, so no one really fears targeting me, it sometimes can backfire on you. Sometimes you want to be an initial threat, so people fear coming for you in case you stay. In Julie's case, if you put her on the block, do you really think she's going to win veto? I don't think so. So next, let's move on to 12th place, ladies and gentlemen. We've got... Oh, dang, I'm not even putting the pictures up. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm rolling. Let me not do Julie that way. Let me not do it that way. Hold on. Let's get her on. All right, bet. Julie's on. You see Julie. This is Julie Vu. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. That was purely coincidental and accidental. But now we have moved on to 12th place, who is Kiefer, ladies and gentlemen. Kiefer Collison, 32 years old, radio show host. Feels like the spiritual successor to Ryan Ballantyne, if I'm being completely honest with you. He's from Tera, British Columbia, and he is Haida Nation. So he is definitely serving the purpose of the native Canadian slot, the archetype. And I appreciate the fact that they have given more representation to people from different walks of life. Everything isn't just about Damien, and I appreciate it. His nickname, ladies and gentlemen, you will be happy to know, I called him Chief Kiefer. Okay, he's Chief Kiefer. It rolls off the tongue, Coach. How do I not call you Chief Kiefer? Okay, you feel it, dig me? You feel it, dig me? Now, and his remix would be Love Hider. You feel it, dig me? But anyway, seems like a really wholesome guy, ladies and gentlemen, a family man, radio personality. It tells me he's really good with his words. He can hold a conversation for a long period of time, and he won't be scared about giving no speech. That's important. So, in theory, we could have another Poppin' Paul Jackson on our hands. In theory. Of course, Poppin' Paul Jackson had a little bit too much sauce, but yeah, you know how it is. But anyway, I feel like if Poppin' Paul Jackson was on a season like this with all this representation, Poppin' Paul may have had a chance to win it all. But anyway, he seems like the evolution of the Ryan Ballantyne archetype from BBCAN9. His biggest problem will be the obvious age gap between him and the younger men. But he's only 32. That's not that much older than Tychon. So, in my opinion, he can work his way in, right? He can. I just think out of all the men, he's clearly the lame duck out of all of them. Right? I think all the men can figure out a way to work together. Kiefer might have it hard, you know? Like, Kiefer is the one who needs to get power early and get a men's alliance going. He needs that bad, Coach. The other ones, they could get an LGBT popping off. Two of the brothers, they could have a showman, and they could have some, you know what I'm saying, like a big alliance with Black and other folks. You know, but with Kiefer, it's going to be really hard for him to work his way into any alliance necessarily because he's a taken man. He ain't looking for a showmans. That limits the pathways he can take in the game as well. But let's continue. So yes, he's native Canadian American heritage, so I hope he gets the same support Damien got, even though we all know he won't get it because women won't find him as attractive, unfortunately. If I had to guess, he's a legit fan of the game based off his bio. His biggest obstacle will be competitions, but if his social game is good enough based off of his radio show personality past, to get in a men's alliance, he could get dragged to the end. And that's the thing, do you really want to be in a situation where you have to give a speech next to a radio television host? Imagine having to give a speech next to me, Coach. You're going to have a problem on Big Brother. That's why they don't want me on their shows, bro. If I'm on the block, I'm going to say some hot shit. And they're going to be like, oh, Dr. Wilson. Nah, let me stop. I ain't going to. But they know what it'd be. They know what it'd be. I'd say something to come from left field. I'm not saying I'd go full Scotty. You was giving head and Hilton. I wouldn't. You're getting that Hilton head. I wouldn't go that hard. But they know I'd be unpredictable, Coach. You feel it, dig me? It's like I got the metronome attack on Pokemon. You don't know what you gonna get hit with. But anyway, let's continue. He says he plans to use his lack of threat level to his advantage, but Poppin' Paul Jackson thought he could do the same thing during Big Brother Canada 2. I'm worried Chief Kiefer will be forced to play a rat Ryan Ballantyne type game and turn on his allies to stick around longer. If he doesn't win an HOH at the beginning, he has too much of an uphill climb to win, in my opinion. If Julie and Tina become the captains, I see everyone ganging up on Kiefer and Tera the first week. It will be incumbent upon both of them to keep each other safe by winning HOH, and if they can win HOH, they will need someone like Beth or Josh to throw them a bone, because I don't see anybody black doing it week one. I just got to keep it funky. If I'm black and I walk into a house that's this diverse, oh man, I'm chilling out. I'm using the Godfrey strategy, okay? Because I'm good. You feel me? Shout out to Lil Wayne. I'm good. No ceilings. You feel it, dig me? Especially after production culturally appropriated people of color by making Damien seem more black than Anthony Douglas during BBCAN9. If these black players remember that season at all, they may charge Kiefer to the game with the Damien tax. And see, this is what I tried to warn y'all of. The way Damien got preferential treatment could have a negative impact on every native Canadian player that plays after him. Because if I'm a black player who saw the way not Austin, my opinion, my fault, who saw the way brother Anthony Douglas was done, and saw the way Damien was treated, I'd walk into the game thinking, oh, you native Canadian too? We got to make sure he don't make jury, because they just give them all the special treatment. And that's what I'm saying. I hope this don't happen to Kiefer. I hope he is in charge with the Damien tax. And yes, I came up with that on my own. Give me my credit because that shit goes hard. It's the Damien tax. I think he's going to have to pay the Damien tax here. Now, the question is he going to have to pay a lot or is he going to have to pay a little? You know, that remains to be seen. But the thing is, all that special treatment you gave Damien, it could hurt Kiefer on day one. I hope it doesn't, but I think it will. Now, Kiefer scored 14 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. He did better than Julie Vu and Tina, of course, but he still doesn't score that high. Honestly, I think the guy understands the game. I just think this cast is not conducive to him succeeding with, you know? And conversely, I just think his archetype always has a rough time of it, if I'm being honest with you. He scores 2 at the ability to adapt, 5 at knowledge of the game, 2 at social game likability, 3 at pregame strategy, and 2 at initial threat level. Now let's get into 11th place, ladies and gentlemen. And let me make sure I change these pictures while I do it, because I know they're going to be mad over that Julie Vu thing. I got to make sure from this point further I don't mess up again. All right. We have Miss Tera Gillen-Petrozzi, ladies and gentlemen. She is 37 years old. She is a spin instructor from Ontario. I actually believe in a different season with a different cast, this lady would be a legit threat to win it all. That's why she's 4th worst. I truly believe her skill set, the fact that she's a mother, the fact that she's a legit fan who practices a lot of these things with her kids and her husband, I think this lady is going to have some curveballs to throw, and a lot of people are going to expect them to come from her. If, in a perfect world, Kiefer, Julie, and Tina go out before Tera ever does, I think Tera still has the wherewithal to be able to pivot with some prowess. And that's where I'll give her some credit. I think out of all of the bottom 4, I think she is the one with the highest chance of actually being able to win the game. Absolutely. I think from an athletic standpoint, she has just enough to be able to do it. I believe from a mental super fan standpoint, she has enough to be able to do it. What's going to be her biggest hurdle clearly is going to be the social aspect. And this is where I believe she needs to hold on to a girl like Beth. She needs Beth to be her conduit to connect her to the younger group. In my opinion, that's my thought process on it. And if I'm Tera, I'm trying to distance myself as much as possible after week run from Tina and Kiefer if I don't want to be sent out before them. But so we have Tera the Terrorizer. Her bio, she basically plans on winning HOH, and she practices it very often with her family. Now, from a pregame strategy perspective, just saying you plan on winning HOH, that doesn't really constitute great pregame strategy. But the fact that she said she had something planned at least tells me she's at least a fan of the game. Some of these people didn't say nothing, right? So I got to give her some credit there from a pregame standpoint. But the majority of, I think she could fall to a similar fate as Queen Kaylin from BBCAN9, mainly because she has that age difference, and it might be hard for her to form an alliance early. But I think if she's given the time, she could be someone just like Queen Kaylin who could do a lot of puppeteering, a lot of puppet mastering within the game if given the time. I think she could be that person. And preferably speaking here, I wouldn't mind an older player being a captain because they are already at a disadvantage, but a superfan like Tera may panic under captain circumstances. That's why I don't want Tera as captain. I think she could overthink the captain title, and I think it could hurt her game. But I think someone like Julie, I think someone like Tina, I think they won't overthink it. I think they will legit just pick people based off who they want to work with, and I think they may involuntarily create two sides to go up against each other because they're both on the bottom, and it's clearly not a situation where they're doing it maliciously. I think it could lead to good feeds. Now, for Miss Tera, she gets 16 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen, 3 in the ability to adapt, 5 in knowledge of the game, 3 in social game likability, 3 in pregame strategy, and 2 in her initial threat level, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's get into the top 10, all right? Now we get into the people I believe all 10 of these have a shot, right? It just comes down to who has the best shot. When y'all see this order, man, oh, man. And another thing, I have not looked at nobody's videos regarding this cast. This is only my opinion. I've stayed away from timelines, videos. I don't care about your opinion until mine is out there because I don't want to sound like nobody, all right? 10th place, ladies and gentlemen. This might be a shocker to some people, but preferably speaking, I think there are 9 other people who look like better candidates to win than Brother Jedson. No disrespect, I think the guy has some potential, but I don't get super fan vibes off Jedson. What I get is high level recruit vibes. Now, to be fair, Sir Anthony Douglas was a recruit. He wasn't no big super fan that watched this show every day, but he learned the game on the fly, and he almost pulled off one of the most incomparable victories in Big Brother Canada history if the entire community wasn't so anti-Anthony and anti-straight black man at the time. Maybe he wins that season. I think if production were as open to people of color in general during Anthony's season, I think they would have made sure he beat Dane. But I ain't trying to bring that up again. I'm just saying that I believe Jedson, I believe he's from the school of the Anthony Douglas, right? I believe he is a spiritual successor to the Anthony Douglas archetype. The recruit who could play incredibly. That's his potential. That clearly is his ceiling. But his floor is very low, right? His ceiling is high. His floor is very low, though, right? And because of that, there are a lot of ways where I could see other players just outplaying him, right? I think he will be included in a lot of things because he fits that role. An attractive guy, might be in a showmance or two. You feel it, dig me? He wants to flirt, so he's going to be able to be within these rooms with a lot of these power players who understand the game a lot better than him. But that's why I believe he's going to be a dependent player who relies on those players who understand the game a little bit more than him. Now, that doesn't mean he can't beat those players at the end by being the more likable person between the two of them if those people who understood the game played harder than he did. Of course he can win. But once again, I just don't think he has the tools on day one to be considered any higher than 10th place. So, of course, his name is Jed Tavernier. He's 25 years old. He's a personal trainer for Aurora, Ontario, and his nickname is Red Jed Redemption. I couldn't help myself. He's Red Jed Redemption. All right, it just rolled off the tongue, man. I was like, man, I'm good with these nicknames. What can I say? Quick little water break. Now, in Jed's bio, he tends to speak in third person very often. That worries me, coach, because this could rub people the wrong way within the game. He might be the spiritual successor to Champagne Tone. He gives pro-black vibes and is into sports. He has a competitive personality in general. Unfortunately, his strategy is to win every comp he can, and that worries me. He could be a recruit, okay? High percentage chance of doing a showmance to get ahead in the game. Young enough to give good feeds and learn the game on the fly. Has enough security around him to not be the first boot. Will most likely win comps anyway, but we will see how good he truly is if he ever decides to throw comps. That's what I want to see out of this brother. Throw these comps. We all know you can win them. Throw them. Okay? There's a lot of people around you that want to prove, I'm trying to win. Well, you don't got to win, brother. You got a lot of black folks around you. You ain't got to win. All right? Now, if y'all catch wind of somebody targeting black folks, then yeah, go win it. That's where you can appear as the leader of the black team. That'll give you more visibility. But at the start of the game, I don't think you got to do it. I think people in general are going to be scared to target someone black during week 1. They don't want that smoke. And if BBCAN production notifies this cast in any way of what happened to Ethan, they going to be walking on a tightrope not to offend anybody black for a minute this season. I think the black players can use this all to their advantage. All right? Facts. But yeah, so at the end of the day, in my opinion, Jedson's win condition works best in a showmance or in a men's alliance. On his own, he could be in trouble, but I think Tychon will have his back. He wants to influence social change through Big Brother and does appear to be on code heading into the game, but one woman could derail this brother's focus completely, and that's what I'm worried about, all right? I'm worried Austin could convince this homie the reason the Black Alliance ain't where it's at, coach. You know what I'm saying? If Austin start politicking with him and start getting down with his demonstration, I'm worried this brother could scrap that black shit. And the last thing we need is for black people to be mad at Austin because she ruined a good thing with this Black Alliance. I don't want to see it. I'd like to see Austin in the Black Alliance, okay? But once again, I think this is something that could happen, okay? So I'm just prepping people for all the different lanes the game could go down, right? Now, he doesn't give me superfan vibes at all, but that may help him last longer if people don't think he knows what he's doing. His win condition is centered around throwing comps he doesn't have to win and making others believe he's stupid. The sky is the limit if this brother Red Jed Redemption can pull both actions off simultaneously. So I give the brother 17 out of 25 stars, 5 out of 5 in his ability to adapt, 1 out of 5 in knowledge of the game, 5 in likability, 1 in pregame strategy, and 5 in initial threat level. I think he is clearly, this is the type of player, this is what I call a high-end recruit. Someone you don't expect to be able to have the knowledge or the pregame strategy down, but that's pretty much set up to at least make jury just because of the person they are, because of the archetype they represent. That's Jed, in my opinion. I think he's good, you know? Is he black, though? I don't know. Hey, let's not get on that, man. This is the cast assessment. Let's not be negative, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Let's y'all already planting seeds. He ain't gonna work with black folks. This video got me I'm glad I did this live. See, I was gonna do this pre-recorded. I was like, wait a minute. I think they're gonna go crazy in the chat. All right. Now let's get into 9th place, ladies and gentlemen. It is Josh Farnworth, ladies and gentlemen. He is 30 years old from British Columbia. His nickname is Sanji. He gives me Sanji from One Piece vibes. He always got the damn leather jacket on. I'm calling him Sanji, coach. That's his nickname. Okay? Farnsworth Sanji. Not Farnsworth Bentley, Farnsworth Sanji. You feel it, dig me, coach? That's the vibes he gives me. Now, he also gives me Jared Leto Joker vibes. If I'm being honest, I think this dude is a chaos theory specialist. All right, it's something about. Oh, hold on, I forgot to change Jed's picture. Hold on, let me not do Josh bogus. Let me give y'all some context as to why I call this dude Sanji. Now, One Piece fans that happen to be watching it, I know y'all in Canada too. Tell me that don't look like Sanji. I'm just saying, he looked like Sanji to me. That's blackleg Sanji right there. All right. You feel it, dig me? Now, so yes, he gives me Joker vibes. He calls himself an introverted extrovert. That is how I would refer to myself too. It makes me want to root for the guy because he says some things where I go, oh, this motherfucker might be a problem. He says some words that only someone who studied a lot of psychology would understand, right? I'm talking about introverted extrovert. He talks about how he has history of filmmaking and working in the TV industry and stuff like that. Makes me believe, is this dude some proxy for production to carry out their wishes in the house? It makes my gears start turning. Is this dude like some mole they planting in the cast? Right? See, I'm thinking outside the box here. I think this guy could be somebody who was planted here to push the game in a direction. Now, I can't put my hand on it completely. I can't say I know for a fact. But I think based off of this dude's bio, he wants chaos. He's an anarchist. He wants the smoke. And to a certain extent, I think Rohan wants the smoke too. And that's why I think Josh and Rohan, we got to watch them carefully, okay? Because they could be Roanoa Zolo and Blackleg Sanji. You feel it, dig me? I don't know yet. I'm just saying, right? I think both of them could be very dangerous if you allow them to align. I'm seeing things, all right? Now, credit to production for finding a new archetype. This is the gay conspiracy theorist archetype. I never knew I needed a gay conspiracy theorist on Big Brother. Now I need to see more of these casted because I'm interested in what this dude is going to do in the game. I'm interested. This dude is talking about simulation theory. And see, that's the thing. If you don't know what simulation theory and the Elon Musk stuff is, if he studied that much, he probably studied game theory too. This dude is going to be a wild card. Pay attention to him, all right? Now, he admitted to being opinionated and cerebral. Those two things can be dangerous if used together well. But if used together wrong, it can be what ruins this game completely. I can see him being very good or very bad. If he's really a loner in real life, there is a chance his worst possible gameplay style is floating. He thinks very highly of himself, just like Breydon does, but I think Josh will have a higher propensity of working well with straight men because he doesn't force his sexuality on others. This can be used to his advantage as well at the right moment. In theory, Josh could play this season as a straight man and reveal he's gay at a later date to gain jury votes or flip the game in his favor. I see potential here to do a lot of stuff. But what he doesn't have that Breydon does have is immediate numbers in a black alliance. Because of this, Josh may have to out his sexuality earlier to create a reason for people to like him. His best case scenario is working with Rohan as a villain or starting an LGBT alliance. Also, him admitting to being a filmmaker and working in the television industry tells me that he understands how production works and he may be someone they are planting in the game to do their bidding. I expect lots of deep conversations on feats to come from him as well. If he has studied simulation theory, in a perfect world, he could play a spy game of running information from both sides back and forth. Problem with this is, I think there are too many players who can figure out who is lying based off their real-life occupations. Being the villain could be tough for Josh if he tries to finesse someone like Latoya or Beth. Two women who, one is in the social working field, the other one is an officer. If you try to finesse them with some BS, they might sniff it out immediately, and before you know it, you're in the shadow realm, Josh. You feel it, dig me, coach? So Blackleg Sanji got to watch his back when it comes to these two ladies, because I think they're going to also be very interesting. Conversely, being the villain may gain him an ally of Breydon if the black players aren't all on code. I really like the position Josh is in pregame because he really has nothing to lose, and I think I'm higher on him as a player than most fans currently are. And that's why this cast score is so high in my WTF rankings. They all could be interesting archetypes on different seasons, but they are all together now, making it even harder to predict how the game could be played out. Now, Josh scored 19 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. So think about that for a second. This dude is 9th place, and he has 19 stars. We're going to get... it's going to get cracking towards the end. You're going to get a lot of tiebreakers towards the end because it's hard to really say who is a more dominant player with limited bio information, right? But Josh scores 4 out of 5 in ability to adapt, 4 in knowledge of the game, 3 in likability, 5 in pregame strategy, 3 in initial threat level. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into 8th place. We got Breydon White, okay? A lot of people are saying he's Gary Glitter 2.0. A lot of people are calling him Gary Jr. But you know what I call him? This is the nickname that's going to stick. And watch, there's going to be a lot of people copying Recency Bias Radio. This is his nickname, 50 Shades of Bray. That's his nickname. It's gonna stick. I know it already. Now, I get why they interviewed Josh before this season. They were looking for a Josh archetype they confused with Gary's from Big Brother Canada 1. Okay, I see what you're doing, E.T. Canada. I'm following you now. Breydon is definitely book smart, but only time will tell if he's truly game smart. He has the right amount of LGBT players on the cast and black players around him to play any way he truly wants to, but his biggest obstacle may be his ego. If he can maintain humility from week to week, there is no reason why he shouldn't make jury. But I look at Breydon as a player most will target once jury starts because he has the Infinity Stones to pivot as much as anyone. 50 Shades of Bray's best case scenario is getting out older players early so he can manipulate the rest through emotions. Victoria is his ideal partner in crime, but I could also see him hitting it off with Julie Vu and possibly blindsiding the black men for an LGBT alliance with Josh. But with lots of options can come lots of hesitance and mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my fault, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to change the pick. Thank you so much, Angelo. I appreciate you for that, coach. Hold on. Let me introduce 50 Shades of Bray. Yeah, let's bring 50 Shades of Bray on. Yep, that's 50 Shades of Bray. You feel it? Dig me, coach? There we go. We got 50 Shades of Bray on the screen. And this is why Breydon is very polarizing when it comes to predicting this season. I believe production wants him to do well because they've marketed him as hard as anyone else. This tells me Bray will be given the chance to be the storyteller of this season, making him a real threat to win it all because production are more likely to let him win over Ty or Jed. I'm still woke, all right? I ain't buying it yet. I gotta see more, all right? Most fans expect Breydon to work well with Julie and Victoria, If he goes the Julie route, I think he could hurt his game long term with a lot of people. Also, I see him as the player who is the most likely to start the first fight in the house as well. So I fully expect 50 Shades of Bray to get a lot of visibility throughout the game. But I think he will be a high risk, high reward player, ladies and gentlemen. If you're betting on him, you better bet it all or bet nothing. Because he's one of those players, man. He's either going to be totally explosive and steamroll and change the way people view the gay black archetype forever, or he's going to be a Ramsey Soto, and he going to betray them black folks, and everyone going to be like, yeah, this is what I tried to tell you. I'm hoping Bray don't go down that road. I'm just saying. Now, so yes, he will have the most options on day one, but with lots of options could come lots of ways to ruin your game. Bray will need to lay low so other people are viewed as smarter and stronger. His best win condition involves waiting until jury to start playing really hard. If he tries to control everything from the start, he will get ganged up on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Bray scores 19 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. He gets 4 in the ability to adapt, 4 in knowledge of the game, 4 in likability, 3 in pregame strategy, and 4 in initial threat level. Being a black man automatically gets you a 4 in initial threat level. I don't care how much they have changed the way the game is played. At the end of the day, we know what's up. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to real quick go to the bathroom, and I had to do it on the fly, and I didn't want it to alter things that much. So hopefully we are back where we left off at. Nothing really did anything wrong. All right, let's get it cracking. Hold on, let's get professional, all right? We halfway there now. We at 7th place, coach. In 7th place, ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Latoya Anderson, ladies and gentlemen, the police officer from Ontario. Her nickname is the Lady of Light because, in my opinion, Latoya Anderson is the closest Big Brother player we'll ever get to Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. So her nickname is Lady of Light, coach. All right, that's her nickname. And if you notice in her bio, the first thing she mentioned is, ain't no one gonna dim her light. So it was like she wanted me to call her Monica Rambeau. We've gotten Monica Rambeau on Big Brother now. It's lit. Hold on, let me change the picture. We still got 50 Shades of Bray looking crazy in these streets. Hold up, there we go. All right, let's get to Queen Latoya. All right, there we go. We got Latoya in the building, all right? She's super happy that it is her time to shine, coach. Now, of course, the first thing she said in her bio was, do not dim her light. That earned her the nickname Lady of Light, especially since she's a black officer like Monica Rambeau. I love her confidence, in very good shape, has all the tools to play well if she uses the skills she learned from being an officer. Finally, production has given us someone. You know, they've given Tony Vlachos to other groups of people. They've given Derek Levasseur to other groups of people. Finally, black folks get to see if having the inherent advantage of being an officer with all of those skills that you learn and knowing how well they transition into a game like Survivor at Big Brother, now we get to see if being black can nullify such a huge advantage as being a cop. This is why I find her specific archetype to be very interesting heading into this season. In theory, she has the Infinity Stones just as much as Breydon does on day one. But I fear she isn't as much of a super fan of the game. I fear she's more here to serve a purpose of mending relationships between black folks and police by showing a black woman as an officer. I feel like she has a deeper agenda behind her position in the game. That's why she doesn't score as high, because I don't believe she's as much of a fan of the game as she could be. But with that said, I still believe the advantages she's coming into the game with, the shape she's in, the strong willpower she's equipped with, I think all of these things put together are the perfect storm to allow this lady to play very well, especially since she is surrounded by other black players that I believe are going to be power players this season, right? I think all of these things create the perfect storm to allow a sister like Latoya to do well here. All right, but it will all be incumbent upon whether she can play the game at a slower pace. If she rushes herself, if she can't hide the fact that she's a cop, and if someone like Beth, being a social worker, can somehow figure out that this chick is a cop based off her history of psychology and social work, then that could really ruin this lady's game. But once again, we've seen no one figure out someone is a cop in the past before. But what I'm worried about is if this lady Latoya doesn't do well, people are going to use it as an example of how black people are so bad at the game they couldn't even do well as a cop, right? I'm worried that that's the type of narrative that will be said about black women and black players in general. And that's why I'm rooting very hard for her to prove that at the end of the day, yeah, she's still going to have a harder route than Derek ever had just because she's black and happens to be a cop. But I definitely think she was at least given some tools to help overcome some of the things that she's going to have to face, right? So I'm worried if she doesn't play well, people will use it to bash her even more for not taking advantage of her own advantage. Make no mistake about it, by her being a cop, there was tons of pressure on her to play well, and there's added pressure on her to change the way black people in general view the police through her. So really, she has two jobs this season. And even though it's a bit unfair, it's also unfair to the other players that she has skills from her job that directly helps her in the game. So pay attention to Latoya all season, because she has the weight of a lot of people on her shoulders. I'd argue her playing well will impact the games of every black player positively if she can use her skills and run information back to them. She could be the player that breaks down barriers in Big Brother Canada if she reaches her potential, and I'm excited about what she does in the game. But I pray black women are smart enough not to vote for her to be the damn captain. And see, that's the thing. I'm worried that black women jumped on code to give Davon that AFP just to see someone black win something. I hope they don't make the mistake of just forcing votes to black people to be captain to see the same thing. I hope as a community we're smart enough to realize this twist is fool's gold. I hope we're not emotional enough to say, hey, we got to gift Victoria, Latoya, Jed, Tychon. I hope we're not dumb enough to think we have to gift them the captaincy, because I don't think they need it, right? That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that BBCAN will figure out a way to put a black person as one of the captain and go, oh, this is proof that we've turned the corner, we've rebranded ourselves. Look, a black person won a vote. I'm worried, but anyway. But with her skills as an officer, oh, my fault. But yeah, I play black women are smart enough to not vote for her to be captain. That would be catastrophic to her gameplay, arguably more catastrophic to her game than anybody else's. And with her skills as an officer, one could also argue she has the only skill set that could turn being a captain into a positive. Now, I'm unbiased enough to admit both could happen, but I would prefer no one black has the responsibility of pissing off half the house on day one like they did Andrew Miller. With that said, the no-brainer player for Latoya to get close to, I believe, would be Victoria or Breydon, or both. I think both of them, she gets close to them, her weak points are safeguarded because she's not an expert on the actual history of the game. I think as long as she has a partner who has that part checked out, she can do everything on her end to safeguard them with all the things she learned in the police force, right? Her game should work well with Breydon's in theory, and hopefully they can build upon that by recruiting Jed and Tychon to be their enforcers. Now, she scores a 20 out of 25 stars, 5 in the ability to adapt. Come on, she's a cop. She's going to adapt well. Her knowledge of the game, I'm not sold on. That's a 3. Her social game and likability, I'm not sold on. That's a 3. Her pregame strategy, 5. I think you coming in with the stuff you know, that's a 5. Her initial throw level's a 4. Because at the end of the day, let's just keep it all the way real. Unfortunately, black women are judged on a threat level. They are judged just as high as the weakest beta male of white men. They are judged as more of a threat than them. Unfortunately, that's the way the game is played. Hopefully these things change. That way I can alter my scoring system. But until I see proof of that, I have to still judge her the way most people judge a black woman in shape such as her. Now, we are in 6th place, ladies and gentlemen. At 6th place, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and change the picture. Let me make sure I get this stuff on demand. You feel it, dig me? No Xfinity. At 6th place, ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Beth Bieda, or Bieda. I don't know how to pronounce that. I may have got that wrong. Sorry if I did get that wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Now, she is 27 and she is a social worker. Her nickname is Bubbly Beth. I couldn't really think of nothing else because at the end of the day, it just worked well for her, and that's her personality type. She gives me good vibes. She's good at working with people, so she should be a natural social threat. And her lazy eye could be the gimmick that makes her a favorite of production and Canada, similar to how Dane's teeth became one. I think she's a super fan because I just don't see a recruit saying yes to playing this game with a lazy eye unless they believe their skill set will overcome it. As a social worker, she no doubt has to find ways to relate to people who aren't always willing to communicate. Her ability to find a way around that built-up wall should be complementary to her social game, and I expect her to utilize the white girl crying technique often to control the influence of her perception and cover up her skills. In theory, her skill set could be the skill set that figures out Latoya is a cop. But if her and Latoya were to use their skills to help each other, I think they both could dominate as an unlikely blue-collar alliance. You could even call the alliance Big Sky. Isn't that the show about a black woman officer and a white woman officer fighting crime together? You can almost call that alliance Big Sky. See, I'm giving BBCAN ideas here, and I should be charging them. You feel it, dig me? But anyway, she may also work well with Tina, because both appear to love the outdoors, but socially speaking here, it will probably do her better to not align with Tina if she wants to make jury. She vows to bring entertainment, and since she's legitimately the only young white lady on the cast, I know production will have her back at least until jury. She is the archetype that always lasts on these type of shows. We would be fools to think she won't last this season. What makes me so sold on her is how strong her willpower is. Her experience of trauma training should prep her well for reacting well to twists that may screw her over down the line. I see her being very dangerous if anyone lets her anywhere near Final Five. I think she's one of those players you do not want her anywhere near Final Five. Don't do it. That jury gonna vote for her 20 ways. They're going to vote for her. She actually was involved in a tiebreaker with Latoya. They both have 20 stars, but because she had the likability tiebreaker, she got 6th place, Latoya got 7th. And the ability to adapt, Bubbly Beth has 4. Knowledge of the game, 4. Social game likability, 5. Pre-game strategy, 5. Initial threat level, 2. Now we have 5th place. We now in the top 5, coach. Yes, sir. We've come a long way. All right, here we go. 5th place, we have the brother known as Tychon Carter, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh. It's going down, coach. They finally gave us a brother who understands the game. There ain't no punk. I'm excited. Coach. Now, he is 29 years old, and he is an urban planner from Montreal, Quebec. But the nickname I'm giving him, this guy's giving me James St. Patrick vibes, man. He's called the Ghost of Quebec. All right, that's his nickname, bruh. He's Ghost. He's Ghost, man. This dude gives me Ghost vibes, 100%, bruh. You mean to tell me you an urban planner, bruh? Like real talk, I'm getting vibes of Ghost in the cut with Councilman Tate. You feel me? He giving me them vibes. I think this brother is way more intelligent than he's leading on. I think he has a respect for women that will pay dividends in the game. I think he's athletic enough to not be... I think he's athletic enough to be feared to cross early in the game. But I think he's nice enough to where no one will even contemplate it early in the game. I think he understands the game from a superfan perspective a lot. After I watched his bio about 5 times, I realized, oh, this dude know what he's doing. Like, this dude was talking about jury management and stuff like, well, no, I think that was someone else talking about jury management, but he was talking about his social game and he was talking about other stuff. But he was saying enough to let me know he's a fan, right? I think the Ghost of Quebec is going to be a real forbidden jitsu here. Now, he is the only cast member to include their mom and grandma in their intro video. Says a lot about his choice to give others credit for his success. He's humble. He gives back to the community through his work. He's at the perfect age to relate to the younger crowd, but still hold adult conversations with the older cast members. Reminds me a lot of Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver that used to play for the Bears. This man is an urban planner. Let me find out this guy is the James St. Patrick of Montreal. And that's why his nickname is Ghost. He knows how to have decorum when it's business time, but he also knows when to flip the switch. I'm, of course, hoping he works with Jed, Latoya, and Breydon, and even Victoria. But with a season that's this diverse, I could see it all men's alliance or all women's alliance being as likely as a black alliance. Jed and Tychon both seem to be recruits based on their bio, but after watching a few more, nah, Tychon ain't no damn recruit. I think he's on his own there. So I think they will need Breydon and Latoya a little bit in the game so they aren't forced to win every comp and expand their targets. But on his own, I see potential in Tychon to be a good player because of how well organized he is in everyday life. If he excels at leading and helping others, he should be the guy who isn't scared to flip a vote or pick up a floater for his side to win a vote. While you could argue Ty has the same game plan as Jed, Ty is clearly more of a fan of the game, and he comes off as more genuine in being excited for this opportunity. That, along with him being 29, which is also my age, tells me he's more mature and ready for this moment to not lose his focus. I mean, Jed is 25. I think about my mindset at 25. The game I would have played at 25 is way different than the game I would play now, and that's why I think Tychon is a lot more well equipped for this game. This brother has my stamp of approval. I haven't seen a straight black male big brother prospect score this high before a season ever. So there is pressure on Ty to do well, but I think he will live up to the hype. He scores 21 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. 5 at the ability to adapt, 3 at knowledge of the game, 5 at social game likability, 3 at pregame strategy, and 5 at initial threat level. So as you can see, he basically has the same exact high points, the high-end recruit points that someone like Jed would have, but he had more invested in the bank in the knowledge of the game and pregame strategy part. If he would have been a little bit more of a super fan and gave off a little bit more of those vibes, there's an argument to be had that he could have scored close to a 25. There's an argument to be had. Now let's get into, I believe we are in 4th place, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, it's getting real. It's getting real. Now, this is the biggest wild card of the show right here. Let's change the picture. Hold up. See, I got to keep reminding, excuse me. I got to keep reminding myself, man. None other than Rohan Kapoor. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this guy is the spiritual successor to Hamza. 100%. All right, he just happens to look a little bit more like Kiefer. I think this dude is coming for all the smoke. I think he is one of the biggest wild cards because he has no clear direction to play in. This makes him very dangerous. This means he is going to be one of those guys who's going to adapt the best, in my opinion. Okay? Because he's not going to have someone he's going to feel like he owes it to be loyal to on day one. He's not going to have that weight on him. And if he doesn't have that weight on him, he can play free, right? He's almost playing with house money on a season like this, right? Because you clearly have all these black people. He's going to be able to relate to them black folks. He's going to figure out a way, right? But then you have Austin over here, who's part Egyptian. Could they possibly have some showmans between the two of them, right? I think it's more likely that Jed ends up with Austin than a Rohan. But I do think if Rohan was to pull Austin, he could throw a huge wrench into the entire season. Because if you can get Austin away from them black girls, we can have two sides. Boom, 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 celebrity deathmatch. I'm keeping it real. I think Rohan is a forbidden jitsu. All right? That's why his nickname is Ronin Rohan. If you don't know about the Ronins, if you didn't play Ghost of Tsushima, the Ronins were swordsmen who had no warlords, who had no king, who had no person above them telling what to do. They were loners. They were on their own, but they weren't to be messed with because they had it. They could give you that work. I think Ronin Rohan is going to be that guy who's a lone number, who don't need an alliance, but will somehow find a way to be included in one because people will value his skill set. I think this guy 100% has Hamza tools, and I think he's going to be very dangerous. He's very confident. He's not scared to speak his mind. As long as he doesn't do something completely ludicrous early on, woo, you got to bet high on a guy like Rohan. I think he's going to play well. He's a professional middleman and liaison in real life. This should help him orchestrate blindsides and instigate fights. He also wants to be the villain of the season, so I expect him to be a fan of the game in order to know what fans expect from a villain. I could see Austin possibly having a showmans with him. He says he tells the truth 25% of the time, so he excels at what Big Brother is all about, lying well under pressure. His biggest obstacle will be not to come off as well off. He does not want people to think he has enough money. He wants people to think he is as hungry as they are. He needs to placate and pander to what all of them are motivated by, and he'll be fine. And with his job description, he knows how to do that because he's the one putting deals together between powerful people. Now, if he wants to be a successful villain, he has to hide the knife before a jury and placate to the house's will. Will Rohan be able to do this, or will he be too impatient to create good TV? I think Josh works really well with Rohan because they both seem to take pleasure in playing mind games with their opponent. If Josh and Rohan work together, that's trouble for the entire house. Rohan, being a loner type of player, in Seek of Chaos, gained him the Ronin nickname. I view him as the spiritual successor to BBCAN9 Hamza. He may end up being the most interesting player on the cast because there is no clear-cut path for him to go down, allowing him to improvise and bring out his game plan easier. there is a chance with Austin being Egyptian that she might be smitten by Rohan. In theory, that showmance may create two divided sides. If I were a betting man, I'd say Rohan and Austin showmance would be best case scenario because it forces the black players to stick together and it gives them worthy opposition to go up against so everyone could be entertained. The only problem I see with this is Rohan might not care about a damn showmance, and this may make him more dangerous as a floater with the aptitude to force the flip. Rohan is really the only player on the men's side, besides Tychon and Kyle, that I think could play any way he wants to. If Kyle is smart, he recruits Rohan, Ty, and Jed for another Pretty Boys alliance. Now, Rohan scores 22 out of 25 stars. I think this guy is going to be good. I really do. 5 in the ability to adapt, 5 in knowledge of the game, 3 in likability. He don't care about being liked. 5 in pregame strategy, 4 in initial threat level, coach. Next, let's get into the top 3. It's lit. At number 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Ethan's alternate, Kyle Moore. Let's go ahead and put him on the board. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and put him on the board. This man was a late addition. But because he's a late addition, his nickname from this day further is Six-Man Kyle, because he came off the bench. And he about to get these buckets. Because every time I look at this dude's bio, I see a threat. I see someone, hold up, this man got an HOH robe in his house? Hold up, he got a POV in his crib that he bought from the store? Hold up, this man is a legit super fan. Hold up, why was he the alternate? Was Robin Cass getting wet over Ethan? Well, how do you not know Kyle was the better pick than Ethan if you got them both on a table? How do you not know? I look at Ethan bio before they send him to the Shadow Realm. We're talking pre-Shadow Realm Ethan here. When you look at his bio, all you saw was, I want to be Emmett. I want to be Emmett. I want to be Emmett. That's all I saw. When I see Kyle, I see new archetype, new archetype, new archetype. So I don't see what Robin Cass was smoking, coach. But outside of that, let's get into breaking down Kyle. Six-man Kyle, all right? 6-man like Lou Will, all right? I think this dude is going to be a forbidden jitsu. He's unemployed. He's self-deprecating. I think it's going to be funny on feeds. He talks about not having a job. I mean, I think the guy is going to be comedy gold, okay? And I think the mindset of a recruit being a late addition is a different mindset. It's the mindset of someone knowing that I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm not nervous about a damn thing. I think Kyle is going to have that mentality. And I think that mentality is going to make him very dangerous. If I was a late addition on a season like this, I would be licking my lips Shaq O'Neal style because that's barbecue chicken. You know how many people been in sequester for the longest? I don't know if he's been in sequester as well as an alternate just as long as they have. But to get an opportunity like this, when you was sitting on the bench, he going to get these buckets because he want to get a new contract. You feel what I'm saying? I really do think he's going to come in here swinging. He ain't going to be scared, you know? Now, seems like a really down-to-earth guy just happy to be here. Those types are really difficult to take out, I'm telling you. I think he has a fantastic chance to play well because the fans will give him more benefit of the doubt as a late addition alternate than they would otherwise. At 26 years old, he's young enough to socially integrate while also being old enough to know when to listen. If Robin Cass chose Ethan solely off looks, Kyle was picked more for his personality. With Ethan gone, lots of people looked for a reason to kick Kyle off the show, believing this was the season a straight white man was surplus to requirements. Me, on the other hand, I wanted white men to have a representative because I know how it feels to have nobody to root for on a season. I know that feeling. So I didn't want that for white men. I didn't want that for y'all because I know it's a shitty feeling. I know it. And let's be real, if black folks were to dominate this season, but there wouldn't have been a single straight white man, we would have heard it all the time. Oh, this one don't count. You should put an asterisk next to it. Y'all didn't have the right type of competition to go up against. Now you get a great player in Kyle, and I don't even want to make this about race. I'm just saying, now you have a great player in Kyle. Now everyone has a representative. Now everyone can be happy, you know? And that's what we all want, right? We want everyone to be represented. And that's what should matter the most out of everything else. So For everyone involved, I'm happy Kyle will be on this cast. Now whoever wins has more credibility because production stayed as true to their intended archetypes as possible. I think Kyle actually is a bigger fan of the game than Ethan was. Kyle has an HOH robe and a POV from the store. He also was the only player so far to talk about jury management in the bio video. This tells me for an alternate, this guy is focused on winning. Now, Kyle was also in a tiebreaker with Rohan with 22 stars, ladies and gentlemen. He was in a tie with Rohan with 22 stars. He won the tiebreaker based off likability. He scored 4 in ability to adapt, 5 in knowledge of the game, 5 in likability, 4 in pregame strategy, 4 in initial threat level. Now let's get into second place, ladies and gentlemen. The top 2. At this point, you know who the top 2 are. And you know they're both women, but now it comes down to who do I think is the highest? Who has the highest clip? Who do I think has the second highest clip? I mean, whether you're second or not, I don't think it should be any shame in your game, because to earn the right to be this high, I have seen more than enough in you. In second place, we have none other than Victoria Woghiren, a.k.a. Spicy V. Look, if your nickname is that clean, I'm not going to change it. If it ain't broke, I ain't going to fix it. But that 50 Shades of Breydon, y'all better give to me. But yes, we have Miss Victoria Woghiren. Or Woghiren. If I didn't pronounce it right, my apologies. She is a youth advocate from Hamilton, Ontario, ladies and gentlemen. I think this lady is a social butterfly. I think she is a breath of fresh air from the black women archetype standpoint. I don't think you're going to get any angry black woman stereotypes from her that production usually bank on season to season. But that's also why I'm worried for Latoya. I'm worried they're going to push Latoya into that column. But this is about Victoria. She's a social butterfly. Her passive being in the foster system as a child definitely changed her perspective on life, and it makes her cherish every opportunity. I think this type of perspective will only help her in the game. Look, we all come from humble beginnings. But the humble beginnings she came from, which impacted the career she chose, it shows how pure-hearted she is as an individual. I think that's going to come off to other house guests, and people are going to want to run through a brick wall for this girl. I think this girl is basically who Brittany was supposed to be in BBCAN9, but I think she's going to be a way more likable Brittany, right? And Brittany was a fantastic player. Brittany should have won her season. So I'm not trying to throw shade on Brittany, but what I'm saying is this is probably the highest form of the archetype we're going to get for a while, based off of her understanding the game, knowing how to play it socially, not being in a rush to implement her game plan. I mean, not having an initial threat level that is too strong. I think that's going to hurt Latoya a little bit. But anyway, so I definitely think her past is going to help craft her future in a positive way. Her self-proclaimed Spicy V nickname must derive from Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors nickname Spicy P. She has Canada's favorite player written all over her if she can keep this charisma throughout the entire season, but I'm worried the game will do more damage to her than to others, because it's heartless. The game is a heartless game. She clearly is a super fan because she says she already knows what social game she is going to implement. Her past experience of going to several schools as a new student should help her in the game because she knows the game can't be any worse than what she's already been through. On one hand, that's great because she has perspective to rise above adversity. On the other hand, it could backfire if she expects the game to go her way from start to finish and it doesn't. Spicy Victoria should be able to assimilate fairly easily. Her biggest hurdle will be if she's made a captain by dumb fans, or if she's viewed as a pawn. When you look at the black players, Victoria looks like the one likely to be used as a pawn by non-black players the most. That's the biggest worry I have for her long term. But outside of that, I think she has a good as chance as anyone to win the game. Also, her ability to lighten the mood should help a player like Latoya, who may find it hard to hide who she is while being sociable. If Victoria can make Latoya more likable to non-black women, in theory, Latoya's gameplay becomes even more dangerous. I see Spicy V and Brendan hitting it off from the beginning and looking out for Latoya, with Latoya and Victoria being the numbers linking Jed and Tychon to Breydon. If these 5 can be on the same page but not be too obvious, a black winner is highly likely. In my opinion, She has the highest chance of winning the game out of all the black players because she has the pregame tools Tychon has, but less of an initial threat level. She has the social prowess of Latoya, but with less of an initial threat level. And her entire game is meant to disarm her opponent. She will be a problem. She scored 23 out of 25 stars, ladies and gentlemen. 4 in the ability to adapt, 5 in knowledge of the game, 5 in likability, 5 in pregame strategy, 4 in initial threat level. And then initial threat level is only a 4 because she's a sister. That's the only reason. But I think she will do her best with her social game and likability to knock that down to a 3 by the time the game actually starts. But if we're talking just on paper with no historical context of showing a black player doing what I think she's capable of doing in the future, we haven't seen it yet. She has to be scored as a 4 in initial threat level. And that really is what got her into second place, actually, that extra star. I'd argue if her star would have stayed a 3, she probably is in a 3-way tie for third place. Well, no, it would be a 3-way tie for second because Rohan and Kyle all scored 22s. Now, let's get into first place, ladies and gentlemen. You clearly know who this person is. And no, this isn't me being biased because clearly everyone saw her bio first. In fact, she deserves some credit because usually the first bio you see is the one you forget about the quickest. Usually the last bio you see has the longer lasting impression on you because that's the last person you saw. That's why I saw all of these bios more than 5 times each. I did not want to have recency bias when it comes to these bios in my analysis. So we have Austin Dookwah. She's 23 years old. She's a model and a realtor. She'll sell you a house and she'll sell you a page on Playboy. This girl, it does it all, doesn't she? I mean, damn. You feel it, dig me? She's from Newmarket, Ontario, and her nickname is Stone Cold. All right? Just because her name is Austin, I'm calling her Stone Cold. Now, she's very smart. She graduated college at 20 years old. She said, y'all can keep them 2 years. I'm moving on. Jeez. Like, this chick might be a ringer. She's giving me Paris vibes. This is some BBCAN9 Paris fused with Cassandra to me. I think she has it, where she's so smart, but she's attractive. You don't expect her to be smart. And this isn't me trying to disrespect ladies. You can be attractive and smart. I'm just saying, I know how meatheads think. All right? Jed gonna come into this game and he ain't gonna expect her to be that smart. And in some ways, I think Jed gonna need her if he want to make Final Four. Because I think unless he in a showman's, even the Black Alliance not letting Jed get that far. I don't know. I might be wrong. But she's Egyptian, German, and Guyanese. She's had no boyfriends her entire life, so it tells me she's been heavily sheltered. But that's also a good sign. That means she has expectations of what her man should be. She holds herself to a certain standard, and that is never something for us to shit on. Never. So I give her a lot of respect there. She says she's open to a showman's, but if you've never had a boyfriend before, are you sure you want to do this for the first time under that much pressure on national TV? I think that's the one thing that could hurt her game, a showman's, because she's not experienced in this category. Now, to be fair, though, let's be real. Fellas, how many women have we dated that have lied to us just to get us to want them more by saying, I'm a virgin. I ain't never been with no man before. Sometimes that could be used to make you feel like she's more valuable. I'm not saying she's doing that to us. I'm just saying if she admits that to the house, it's going to make them dudes even more thirsty to get the showman's popping. And that might be her reverse psychology ploy to get them fighting over her. You see what I'm saying? I think she's playing 5D chess here. I think she's planting the seed she's never had a man now. That way when she says it in the game, she's keeping continuity, and now she has a built-in excuse for why all these dudes are ruining their games for her. I'm telling you, man. Listen. She could be the breaker of games if you're not careful, coach. All right? You know, keep the red pill in your pocket, Jed. Tychon, I'm looking at, keep your red pill on you. All right, Rohan, be careful. All of them need to be careful with this one. All right. That's the only speed bump I really see for Austin because she checks every other box necessary for a lady to perform well on Big Brother. She has the looks to be a production's pet. She has the cultural diversity to be rooted for by everybody. She has photographic memory, which should help her be a comp threat and help her in the late game to cruise. I mean, literally. And she appears to be super smart because she graduated college 2 years early. This feels like Paris from BBCAN9's archetype on steroids fused with Cassandra. That's what it looks like to me. And honestly, I'm rooting for her to do well because I think it would be very good to see a lady dominate in a good fashion. Now, I'm hoping she uses her powers to work with the black folks. That's what I'm hoping. You Egyptian, right? You feel the dignity? What's poppin'? Now, her mentioning her photographic memory in the bio was a dead giveaway. She's a super fan. No one mentions that unless they know that it could play a role in the game. So she is coming into this game in a very good position, and she will be able to relate to every player in the game some way or another. This means she could possibly work with Beth, or she could work with Victoria. She could be in a showmance with Jed or Ty, and be included in the Black Alliance. She has the Infinity Stones. The only way I see her game flopping is if thirsty fans vote her to be the captain. But outside of that, she is as safe of a pick you can make to win this season. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on my worst to first rankings? And of course, let me give you all the score here. Austin scored 24 out of 25 stars, 5 in the ability to adapt, 5 in knowledge of the game, 5 in likability, 5 in pregame strategy, 4 in initial threat level. I'm sorry, if I got to keep that same energy. If I think Victoria's initial threat level of 4, just because black women are treated a certain way, listen, if you are a super fan in any way, shape, or form, and you see this girl walk through the door, you know, oh, that's Paris and Cassandra, 4 stars. Her wanted level just skyrocketed on the GTA side of the game. Bring in the tanks, coach. All right, we're going to have a problem. But what are your thoughts on this worst to first rankings, ladies and gentlemen? I would love to know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please do not forget to like it. And, of course, share it with all of the fans of Big Brother Canada 9 that you rock with, ladies and gentlemen. I'm open to answering some questions if you all have any questions in the live chat. I'll give you all a few minutes to come up with some questions. I'm in no rush to leave you. I've already done my hard work, and I've already given the streets what they wanted to hear. So now we could just chill out. It's Saturday. I ain't tripping. You feel it? Dig me? Paris was kind of fire, too. Oh, ain't no one saying, listen, hey, man, Paris, Cassandra, now Austin, all of them is bad. Let's just keep it all the way funky. And I mean black bad, not literal bad. Y'all know. She low-key don't need to lie. I'm impressed how in-depth you went. Oh, new mail. This is what I do in my worst to first cast assessments, coach. I provide an entirely elite exclusive scoring system that you will find nowhere else, coach. And this is why I took my time with it. A lot of people was in a rush to just, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we had the least amount of information coming into this season than we've ever had previously, right? We didn't have an ET Canada interview like I mentioned earlier in this video. We didn't have that to be able to really gauge how these people react with people, right? All we could really go off of was hearsay. And of course, the Ethan story, that took most people's attention off of the actual captain vote itself. And I was under the impression personally that Big Brother Canada owed it to the house guests, to the cast itself, to restart the vote process as soon as they removed Ethan. Because everyone's vote was based off of Ethan being there. You remove Ethan, it changes the entire equation. It's like if you're making mac and cheese and you remove 1 ounce worth of sour cream of cheese for that baked mac and cheese, it's going to taste different. It's going to hit different. And no matter how we feel about Ethan, no matter how much we love Kyle's inclusion, that changed something in the equation. And because of that, I believe Global TV and Big Brother Canada should have restarted the captain vote. I think the majority of intellectual fans agree with me that Julie Vu and Tina Thistle are clearly the 2 picks to make captains because they need that. They need that lifeline. But if you're playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you know you already won and you in the final question and you just did the 50-50, you might waste the call just to stunt. Hey, man, I'm finna win this bread. We've seen it before, right? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I'm riding with your take. Seems to be spot on so far. Thank you, Ninth. I appreciate that, Coach. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I didn't know if people would feel my order, right? But I truly took the time. And I was like, even with the limited amount of information, I can watch these bios over and over again. I can gain certain things, and I can figure out who I think on average is going to do the best. And I 100% stand by my top 10, top 5, top 3. I think they're going to all be problems. And it's going to be interesting to see how all these people work together, right? Like, everyone expects Jed and Tychon to hit it off, but what if it's a situation where Jed pulls Austin and Tychon wanted Austin? Do they beef? Like, there's a lot of different routes. And I would hate to see that, by the way. I'm not trying to speak it into existence. I'm just saying a lot of things are possible, man. Behind every war in existence was a beautiful woman. And somebody was mad. That's facts. You feel me? And I feel like on BBCAN specifically, a lot of times when the house divides is because there's a showman's creating the division. There are people who want to just hang with the showmans because we're cool. We're at the cool kids table. We get extra chocolate milk. Yeah. And then you got people on the other end like, nah, man, this season ain't all about you two. Man, skip y'all. We want the smoke. And that's what we like. I just want to see some entertainment, Coach. Stealth. Dang, I didn't see the question Stealth just asked. Oh, yeah, please do not forget to like and share the video, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm finna make my way back to the live chat and scroll up. That way I can see some of these questions y'all just asked. Because I think I missed some of y'all questions. Give me a second. I'm on my way. Batman is on his way to the Batcave. You know what I mean? Shout-outs to Morgan Freeman. We in the building. Oh, yeah, y'all been smashing that like button. I appreciate that, man. Y'all been looking out for the kid. All right. Jim Stealth asked the question, do you think there will be 2 returnees? And if so, who do you think they would bring back? It is only 14 people. Most casts usually have 16 people. That question isn't far-fetched. I'm someone who believes they owed it to Jamar Lee to bring the brother back. I think the way they did that brother was uncalled for. I think it was so reactionary. And I think the majority of the reason why they did Ethan the way they did him was out of guilt for what they did to Jamar. I think if they don't do Jamar the way they did him, I think they may have let what happened with Ethan slide. And keep in mind, these people do background checks. They do. They just willing to allow certain stuff to slide if they want you to play a certain role, right? And let's just call it what it is. There's a lot of nepotism in BBCAN. There's a lot of nepotism in Big Brother in general, where instead of challenging yourself in the casting department by finding a new archetype, which this season doesn't have that much of a problem with, let me give them credit there. In past seasons and prior seasons, they would play it safe and just choose someone who's a spit image of someone else. They go, oh, it's worked before, it'll work again. But when you do stuff like that, you're telling us you don't want anything to change. You don't want the result at the end to change because you keep making sure all of the players are all the same, right? At least this season, by switching up the archetypes, by creating that cultural shock to the system, now there's no excuses. You won't hear as many excuses from black people in general, like, man, no, we see the representation. Now it's, all right, if y'all blow this 3-1 lead, y'all just bad. All right, now it becomes an accountability issue if I see black folks coming up with some excuse now. Because there's more than enough representation. There's more than enough players that represent the black side that know what they're doing. And there's more than enough competition that isn't thought of as black that can make it worth the while on both ends. In my opinion, this is as good of a preseason from a cast perspective I've ever seen. I hope I'm not speaking too highly of it, and I hope I don't build it up to break it down later, but that's the game, and we don't know how these twists are going to end up. So that's my thought on there. Asoj Angelo asked the question, will there be another Ika Wong? There'll never be another Ika Wong. No matter how I may feel about her here and there, about how she kind of conveniently speaks up for black people, while she props up her interracial relationship every 2 seconds. Let's just call it what it is. I don't think we'll ever get another Ika. I'll give her credit there. There's only one Ika. There will only ever be one Ika. Mago, the guy, says, "Do you really believe everyone's gonna hop on code?" No, Mago, and that's the point. It looks like they all would, but we have a black lady who's an officer. She may want to be seen as aligned with non-black people, so when she goes back to her police force, she isn't judged. You got to think about it that way, right? Let me hold Lady Alight accountable. In her mind, she may think I can't afford to be too pro-black because I still got to go back to the police force. You feel what I'm saying? And we know the police force, a lot like the military, there's a class system to it that a lot of it is kind of built off of racism. I'm not trying to go there with it. I'm just saying I'm not questioning the sister being pro-black. I'm just saying it remains to be seen how pro-black she's willing to be, right? And we got to hold her to that standard of expecting it first. We shouldn't expect her to not be first. And that's my take on it, you know? Until I see proof that they ain't on code, they on code. And you notice, even Jed mentioned, hey man, I've been discriminated against my whole life. Woo out the bam. So I think they're all aware of what production wants from them. Caesar says, this will be my first time watching BBCAN. Let's see all this smoke. I think you're going to enjoy it this time around, Caesar. If this is going to be a first time around, then I think you'll appreciate the refreshing elements of Big Brother Canada, how they do things that are a little bit different. The house, for example, is so much better. But I'm worried this Captain Twist is going to create a heaven or hell vibe and force both sides, whoever gets picked, to live on opposite sides of the house. I hated that in BBCAN 6. Please don't make the Captain Twist do that again. Where, oh, we got to live in the red room. You got to live in the white room. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. People should be able to pick wherever they want to sleep. That should have no impact on the twist. Unless we're talking have-nots. Then I'm okay with it. Right? Yeah, well, he did have an IG story saying he moved back in. Oh. If the Black Alliance... Oh, Whitney. Shout outs to Brother Whitney. He asked the question, if the Black Alliance fails, who will be the black person who screws it up? Ooh, that's a good-ass question. That's a good-ass question. I got to keep it funky in these streets, man. I think it's going to be Breydon. I'm just saying, man. Listen, no disrespect, 50 Shades of Bray. But I feel like he's the one guy who will believe in his mind, I don't need these black folks. I could work with Josh. I could work with Julie Vu. I could work with Tina. We all LGBT. Let's get it cracked. I could see Breydon in his mind thinking it's all about him. Think about this for a second. Before this season was revealed to us, before this cast, I swear I saw so many pictures with 50 Shades of Bray, Carmax the fuck up, all over his face, lip gloss, like, they promoting this dude heavy. So all I'm saying is, if he gets any sniff of, the public loves Victoria more than me, he gonna say, fuck that bitch. If he thinks Latoya at any moment is more loved than him, he might be emotional enough to say, F that chick. I'm just saying, I see that in him. I see a possible villain in his game. That's all I'm saying. I don't really look at Jed as someone who wants to be a villain. I don't really look at Tychon as someone who wants to be a villain. I don't even look at Latoya as someone who wants to be a villain. And Victoria, she clearly is going to be all about positive vibes. Breydon is the one person I can see walking in, dang, I got options. I can see... and see y'all laughing because y'all know. He's the one dude, man. You know? And he's the one person who may believe he understands the game more than everyone else in the black group. He may be the one person who believes he needs to be the leader of the black group. If he is not allowed to be the leader in the black group, if he is made to feel... If Latoya and Victoria give him the impression that they are following Jedson and Tychon's lead more than his, I definitely could see him saying, oh, F y'all for. I'm a snitch. I could see it. But once again, I don't want to put that all on the brother. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, expecting him to stay on code. All right? And the thing is, he's called 50 Shades of Bray for a reason. We're going to get a lot of colors from him. A lot of color commentary, coach. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it funky in these streets, man. No agenda. No agenda. All right? I'm just saying. Breydon and Victoria will clash. And that's the thing. I think it's very possible. You know? But Tychon and Jed, if they happen to clash, Don't risk your game defending Victoria's honor, fighting with Breydon. That's just going to rally the other side behind Breydon even more. Don't fall for the bait. I'm sure Tychon won't, but I'm worried Jed might. Sometimes you get a brother that's a little too light bright, and he feel like he got to overcompensate within the game. I'm hoping Jed don't fall for that emotional warfare there. That's what I'm worried about as well. Mago says, do you think there's going to be anyone that flat out turns on the Black Alliance? Well, I basically already answered that. If there's anyone I see doing it, I think it's Breydon. If there's anyone. I think the rest of them, I think Tychon is way too thorough of a brother in everyday life to do that. I think it would be bad for his business. It just doesn't make sense for him. For Jed, I'm willing to bet the majority of the people who he trains are black people. It's not good for him. Now, I believe Victoria has the skill to flip on the black players at the right time if she sees it's a burning building, and she could do it in a respectful manner. But I think Latoya also is equipped to know when to jump out of a burning building as well. But once again, I don't see that building burning unless Bray is the one with the gas. He just dropping that shit. You feel dig me? That's the only. Hey, listen. If it burned down, Bray was in the cut somewhere with Josh. That's all. Him, Josh, and Rohan was burn it down, right? It was like the Fiend enter BBCAN9 or something. Burn it down. What channel is Big Brother Canada on? I don't know what channel it's on, but I'm sure one of the patrons or one of the subscribers can post the link in the live chat. There's a specific website you can go to watch a live stream of it live on the Eastern broadcast. So in terms of watching the show live, that won't be a problem for you. You don't even need a VPN for that link. If they don't provide it, I'll try to provide it in a pinned comment after this live stream. Angelo asked the question, your thoughts on additional twists affecting the game? Hopefully the right people are picked for captain. Okay, so hopefully we can, as a community, we can work our way around this twist. We know more twists are going to come, but as long as the twists are inherently rigged, like that one twist that Adam Pike had where he got to be in that one room for hours just looking for a cassette tape, he was scanning ultraviolet lights and stuff. As long as we don't get nothing as weak as that, as long as we get something that, in my opinion, is more equal opportunity. And honestly, I think we deserve another twist that could give us a viral moment like Ika got when she had to rip up the letters. They should bring something like that back. It doesn't necessarily have to be that exactly, but I think that's what made Ika an all-star. Because imagine, if that envelope scene never happens, Ika just goes out. She just goes out. And she doesn't have the same flair or bravada behind her, right? But I think if they give us more moments where a player can choose to piss off the entire house and get something for personal gain, if they create more Pandora's box type situations like that, it's only going to be great for us fans. I just hope the black folks ain't the only ones that are put in those positions. That's all I got to say. All right. Brad Iverson. What's good, Brad? I ain't seen you in a minute. Ask the question. Dave, what's the biggest difference between the U.S. and Canada? In my opinion, the biggest difference is the competitions are better. And a lot of that is because Big Brother Canada innovated with different comps to the point where they asked the person who behind the comps with BBCAN to start working on BBUS. That's important for me to provide that context. So their comps are better. Their house is better. And when your house is better, the aesthetic is better. Feeds feel better, naturally. The backyard is huge, right? So it allows for more gameplay, more game talk to be had at any moment. Whereas, and because the backyard is kind of insulated, the backyard is really inside, there's no way for people to fly banners. There's no way for feeds to get shut down as often as they would for BBUS, so we feel more connected to the players as well. There are a lot of things that work in Big Brother Canada's benefit, and a lot of it has to do because BBUS took the bullet so they didn't have to. I'm aware of that, but I'm also fully aware of the fact that Arissa Cox being a black woman hosting the show, it feels more inviting. No disrespect to Julie Chen. I'm just saying she's been doing this for 20 years at this point. Things can feel a little You could get a deja vu feeling from experiencing the same host over and over again. Um, I think Arisa Cox is she's more fresh, she's more youthful, she's more vibrant. She clearly is more into the actual game. Yes, I've called her out in the past because I felt like she's asked some unfair questions to Anthony Douglas that she wouldn't ask to Adam. You know, I'm not trying to bring this up, but I remember her specifically asking Anthony if he had an anger management problem, but Adam was the one punching boxes. Stuff like that made me look at Arisa a little differently because I felt like, all right, she's a company woman to a fault sometimes. Sometimes I want her to keep it more down the middle, keep it 100. Now, I get it. When you're a black person in a position that other black people aren't given, you got to play the game super safe because they would love to get rid of you. So I try to give her the benefit of the doubt on that. But in terms of all around, Big Brother Canada is just the superior product to BBUS when they're on their game. When they're off their game, it feels no different and it feels somewhat worse because they should have known better, right? But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt with my return, and I think they're going to do well here because they don't have a choice. After how BBCAN9 ended, they can't afford to mess this one up. They can't ruin this rollout, you know? CK asked the question, do you see a new era coming for Big Brother with the new casting requirements? I believe it is very possible. But with that said, though, having Julie Vu there take the spot of a woman, I got to speak up for women here. I don't know if women look at that as fair. I don't know if they look at that as fair. I can only put myself in the position in the shoes of a man. If you had a woman transition into a man, taking the spot of a man on a season like this, would I like that? And then for that person to call them an alpha, it's like, whoa, right? But with that said, I don't want to be divisive here, but I get it. They're trying to be as representative as humanly possible. But when you have someone like Julie Vu on a season like this, I felt like it was necessary to make sure Kyle was there. You cannot keep straight white men off the show entirely, but then allow Julie Vu to take the spot of a woman. We got to bring the white dude through, right? I don't care how toxic you think the masculinity is, it's fair. And that's what we're here for, right? We can't be complaining for year on end about how biased it is towards white males having an advantage, and then the thing gets flipped and skewed to the point where we just want to see them get screwed all the time. Nah, man, we got to earn this victory. And the only way to earn it is to have someone with the credentials to be dangerous in that archetype and beating them at what they're best at. Only then can you earn respect, you know? And I'm hoping the black players can earn the respect by now having a legit leveled playing field this time around. So, ladies and gentlemen, please comment below and give me your thoughts on this WTF ranking. Give me your thoughts on the order that I provided. Do you agree with these scores? Do you agree with the order? Is there someone who I scored low that you thought should have been higher? Is there someone I scored high you thought should have been lower? Please give me your input because I would love to hear it. But I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And I hope you all have enjoyed this cast assessment, Coach. And I'll see y'all next time, most likely for the premiere, Coach, on Wednesday, all right? So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm about to enjoy the rest of my weekend. I hope y'all enjoy some of this nice weather outside because it looks amazing, doesn't it? All the snow is melting. So I'll see y'all on Wednesday for the premiere. And of course, I'm going to continuously cover the challenge as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support. You didn't have to be here, but you're here with me on a Saturday. That means more to me than you'll ever know. I'm excited, and I feel great and recharged to be back in Big Brother Canada's good graces. And hopefully we'll have a great season. And that's all we can ask for. So I'll see you all on the flip side. Until next time, the stones